So Andreas, Gemalto has long been a pioneer and leader in the machine-to-machine marketplace, including through Centarion. Can you give us an overview of your key M2M technology offering and what you're announcing at this show this week?
Okay, so let me start from Gemalto overall first, because Gemalto is a large company and the telco business that incorporates machine-to-machine accounts to about 50% of our revenue stream. So Gemalto typically enables its clients to deliver innovative, trusted and convenient services to end users. So today you can say that about 1.8 billion people rely on our mobile communication technology and have some technology in their hands. The continuous growth of mobile communication, of course, has been good to our business, but we have seen that this growth can only be surpassed by the growth of what we expect in machine-to-machine. So while today we speak about like 9 billion connected devices, we expect the market to grow into what is 24 billion by 2020, 9 of which will be using mobile services. So it's hardly surprising that this is an area of interest for our company. And as you correctly mentioned, Gemalto did acquire Centarion Wireless Modules, which is a pioneer in machine-to-machine. The business started in 1994. And through that acquisition and by integration of other components that Gemalto already had in the portfolio, Gemalto made a step to be a leader in machine-to-machine as well. The portfolio that we have ranges from wireless modules that provide all type of cellular connectivity over MIM cards. MIM cards are rugged SIM cards. We call it MIM as a machine identification module, opposed to SIM as a subscriber identification module, that can sustain temperature ranges up to 105 degrees Celsius, for instance. And on top of that, we have a comprehensive service offering, like for the MIM services in order to ensure extended lifetime in the field. Then we have an application enablement platform for our customers who are new to the field. We have subscription management services in order to have a more flexible launch of the application on the mobile network, to overcome some of the logistic hurdles that are there. We are a key innovator in the field of NFC. As you can see on our booth, we show the NFC car key. We have been spearheading the development in LTE for subscription management. So all those areas together make the portfolio, and with that portfolio we have a 360 degree approach to the M2M industry.
So I guess the first question is, when you talk about it, is why now? And there's one part of it which is definitely standards. So in Q4 of last year, the standardization of ETSI was complete. There has been versions of it in the past, but the full HTTPS swap over a secure channel was approved by ETSI in Q4 of last year. So the other reason why it's important is typically standards are great, technology is great, but there has to be a problem, right? And so what you see, especially in the M2M field, is there are use cases where there's a very harsh environment, so you need an extended temperature range, and so you don't want a plastic SIM card, you want a MIM, you want a solder down component. In those sorts of cases, being able to change the subscription becomes more important because it's a component that you can't swap out and change. There's other cases also where an M2M becomes more global. If you have roaming across different countries, those sorts of things, it becomes more important to be able to switch over time. There's network issues with permanent roaming, different topics like that. And what we see in the market is ODC kind of has an umbrella. And there's probably 3 or 4 different use cases, but the primary, or the first one we see, is basically roaming outside of country. And that's an area like T-Mobile, working with Rogers, wants to be able to switch and be able to have devices go back and forth and have favorable rates between the two. But even more so if you put a device there to have it not be a permanent roamer, to really switch and be able to be managed better in between those two networks. And we see that happening, and those kind of alliances happening global, whether it's an AT&T alliance, a T-Mobile alliance, a Telefonica alliance. And so we see that's one use case.
We entered into a partnership with Oracle in order to bring Java to the wireless community, because we believe in the develop once, use multiple times concept that is behind Java. And we wanted to rely on something that is de facto standard in the industry. So Gemalto is a company that always strictly adheres to the standardization and that considers also security as a as of paramount importance for the mobile connectivity space. So Java was compliant to those requirements, so we decided to put it on wireless modules in order to allow the community to defragment their applications, to be quicker to develop an application, bring it to the market, and that comes with a platform that integrates those modules directly, so you have a plug-and-play environment to start with. We have set up a developer community where they can download code snippets, where they can talk to each other, exchange ideas, share experiences, have best practices. A community that has been very active over the past, surprisingly active. And we brought something to the market where we said we need something like the Raspberry Pi for cellular M2M. We call it the concept board because it should allow to deliver the proof of concept for a great business idea that you have. So you have an idea, you want to bring that idea and make it into a mobile application. You take a concept board, it has everything on it, you just need to insert a SIM card and switch it on, and it's connected to the internet. It's integrated in the development platform, and you can start to do your application work. And once you have done the proof of concept, you can go to the next level, which is a terminal, so that is then a certified device, but still ready to use. You don't need to build any hardware to go to market. And then finally take the last step, which is integrating a wireless module in the same architecture in your dedicated device. Right. So as such, like I said, we want a defragmentation, and we want to reduce the hurdles for the newcomers in the industry who have never had any experience with cellular wireless, because it's a tricky topic.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, and we have the knowledge, and we want to share that knowledge with the community.
Right.
What I see now is there's certain problems, and I think they're huge problems like in our society, and those are the areas that maybe are the biggest areas that are interesting for Internet of Things, kind of M2M. For example, right now, I reside in the United States. There's a mega drought, mostly in the western part of the United States, and you see story after story after story. If the people and the scientists who are really looking at it realize that there's a huge loss of water because our infrastructure is 50, 60, sometimes 100 years old, even in the West where the cities are relatively newer. And so what happens is if there's a leak, you don't know about it, right? And we can't go in and replace all the infrastructure, time-wise, cost-wise, it just won't happen fast enough. But what you can have is basically a smart meter in enough places so that when a leak happens, you can triage it, you can stop it soon enough that you're not wasting that much water. And I've seen statistics that actually say 30% of water that is sent out that could be billable just disappears from the system because there's that many leaks in the system because it's old. And that's an area where I think the technology really starts to make a difference, because if you look at that infrastructure, the water company doesn't own electricity, right? So they do not own that infrastructure. So it has to be a battery operated device. If they're used to a 15-year life cycle, it has to be LTE technology. And it has to be cost effective so that even though you're solving this problem and it's a mega problem, it still has to have an affordable cost of that. And that's areas where Gemalto, I think, really starts to rolling our building blocks together to help solve that sort of a problem in a way that makes sense on a scale to solve those kind of problems.
Before I speak of security, let me speak of trust. Because trust is a very hard to earn, very quick to lose value, right? And all we do, so trust is in the center of our business. We, as I see it here, the mobile trust net. So we want to help customers build trust in digital communication and digital services. Security, unfortunately, is not a very simple solution. There is not the off-the-shelf security, so you push that button and this application is secure. It's not like that. So security needs to be thought of from the ground when you start with your application design, because to retrofit an application with a security level is very difficult. So typically when we engage with our customers on a secured application, the first step is consulting. Consulting in order to define the needed security profile for the application. And the needed security profile for an application is determined by the level of vulnerability, the value of the asset, and then the resulting risk of being attacked. And then the mitigation is a balance of effort, cost, and the risk level that you need to mitigate. we as a company, we are in all different fields that require digital security. Like the mobile trust net is basically the conversion of your ID into a electronical ID. So you can sign documents, you can confirm transactions. Other than that, we have been working with different governments for their election programs, to secure their election programs. We are issuing passports for some states. So security is in our DNA, and also the mobile financial services in the banking industry. We are now taking all the elements and building blocks that we have there. We use the consulting approach to understand the need for the security profile, and then we transfer the elements to the application on a need level.
We're doing recycling monitoring, and that'll give us a demonstration of end-to-end solution, starting with our machine identification module, our concept board, our GSM module, the EHS6, which has a multi-threaded Java engine. On the Java engine is running our sensor logic agent. The sensor logic agent is a series of midlets connected to the various sensors on the board that are monitoring the inputs from a variety of things. We have a ultrasonic distance sensor that's monitoring how full the bin is, and when it's full, we get an alert sent back to the platform. So as you'll notice, we're about 50% full. I'm going to simulate what a full bin would look like. So again, we're bouncing signals off of the bin, getting back a reading. So now as we fill it up, we'll get a full signal sent back over the air through our Java module back to our platform. So what you'll see is we now have it in alert status. We've gone up here and we'll get an alert here on my cell phone. So I would be the recycling manager, and I would be getting the alert saying this bin is now full, I need to dispatch a truck to go empty it. Thank you very much.